There were a number of, yesterday's questions. I was not in a space to actually respond to those. And did you deal with that already?
So the one that still we maybe need to say a little more about is the difference between remaining in stillness and remaining
Yeah,
in
well,
clarity.
that's simple. Because normally we think meditation is remaining, remaining. That you focus on, for example, on the object of your practice, be it the breath or whatever. Even though it's advised that 25% mindfulness, 25% awareness, 50% spacious. That's an important element. But the tendency sometimes with people is that they tend to really see that it's like the remaining is important. That's why really that hardcore meditators like the Zen, as well as Vipassana people, or they sit and sit and sit and sit and more, remaining in the stillness. And that when they remain stillness, after a while when meditation develops from not even needing an object, like previously you have shamatha with objects, like either focus on the breath or but then after a while, when you arrive at the state of non-distraction, which is what shamatha really is, that you have no need for focus on anything, and you're able to remain in that. Still, they very much focus on the stillness, remaining. Think remaining is the thing. And that's why sometimes you see when you reach to that level, when you reach to the like state of nowness, and the nowness in the one pointedness in the shamatha, that one where you get a little bit stuck on this nowness, in this stillness of mind. And Yushin Rinpoche and also the great Dzogchen master said that it's a bit like, in old Tibetan or nomadic example, because, for example, Kembang Ngachung, others all from nomadic regions. So their example is when you milk a yak, no, not a yak is a male, from Zomo, and then, you have this container, if you, after a long time, that even the container develops little stain, whereas even more clearer for the Western people is when you have coffee, or tea, or strong tea, if you drink them in the mug. After a while, what happens? It develops a stain that's difficult to wash away. So there can come, therefore, in your meditation, when you remain in stillness, you get really like almost, even though you reach the state of one-pointedness, but you have not gone beyond the duality. There's still nowness is like an object. One is remaining nowness, the subject. Noun becomes the object. Like there's a dualistic clinging to that. So when you go beyond in the Vipassana and all that, you see, you have to destroy the meditation by the mind. That stillness has to be destroyed, or stillness, you have to go beyond the stillness. And stillness is not really that's just only a very low level of meditation. But when you go beyond that, not into the stillness, but more focus on the awareness, the clarity. The Dzogchen, always the emphasis is on the clarity, more clarity rather than in the stillness. In the shamatha, maybe more stillness. In the Dzogchen, the clarity aspect. Yeah. So therefore, not necessarily focusing on one aspect of mind, but more in the nature of how. I mean, the awareness is like when I open my eyes, there's a tremendous look, there's all clarity, particularly here. It's all vivid by all these wonderful images of the Buddhas as well as the mind masters. The mind is, very vivid and open and spacious and is aware, because Quality of mind is to know. It really, the real nature mind is cognizant. Cognizant. That's why Buddha said in the Wisdom Sutras, no our mind is devoid of mind, for the nature mind is clear light. When you also said that, you see, mind is empty. If mind is empty, if you really examine the mind is empty, then what is the nature of the mind? Is cognizant, the clarity. Cognizant of clarity, light is not necessarily anything like that. The basic wakefulness. Basic wakefulness, yeah. And also don't become too particular about words and stillness, listening, just generally more in the attitude to really more. And if you sit more in the nature mind, and more important than anything is to be introduced to nature mind by the master, and then to really to get into the atmosphere of that. As you get into the atmosphere of that actually all thoughts dissolve. They will not stick because there's no grasping there. Yeah. Because it's the grasping mind, is the thinking mind. It's because you always try to make out, that's also ego, you try to figure out things, try to, what is this, what is that, what is this, what is that, all that, and you give credence to that, importance to that also. That's also self-importance, all that. So none of things is matter anyway. It is someone who knows that, why that way will not react when things come, because no, it's only temporary, it doesn't really matter. For example, myself and many times when we receive teaching from a there may be a lot of questions there, but we don't really ask. Because only, like sometimes with His Holiness, when He's teaching, I have many questions. I write them down. I don't really follow up. And don't give too much importance, What is awareness like? You can find Dujun Biche's teaching on, the heart advice, he gave. So then, you might ask, when you recognize your original nature in the Rigpa, what is it like? You might recognize Rigpa, but you cannot put it into words, as if a mute person were trying to describe his dream. The one who is maintaining the Rigpa and the Rigpa that is being maintained simply cannot be separate. If you can rest like this in that vast expanse of Rigpa naturally, nakedly, then the troublemaker, the discursive thinking, speedy, pestering thoughts, who previously could not remain still even for an instant, and who would think of and do everything under the sun, can no longer do what it was doing, because all the stirring and discursive thoughts melt and dissolve and slip into the expanse of Rigpa, which is like a cloudless sky. All the power and all the strength of the discursive thought is lost to the Rigpa. This naturally abiding, self-sustaining Rigpa is naked, vibrant wisdom Dhammakaya. You actually have this awareness within you. It is clear, naked wisdom Dhammakaya. Yeah. That's kind of, all this is pointing to that.